Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. Let me know if the mic is too loud or not. I'm not going to be using the ear microphone for the reading tonight because I either A, forget to switch back and forth, or there's just a lot of noises in between switching back and forth to the ears, and I'm just trying to read tonight. I would like a little chill night. Don't want to be messing with the microphone, so hope that's okay with you guys. Welcome in, everybody. Okay, so I guess everyone is getting broken up with. I am so sorry to hear that. You love my makeup? Thank you. I need to fix my camera, honestly, or just my monitor. I'm just gonna move my monitor back to where it was, because, this is not working out. How the hell did I have that before? Sorry. What the fuck? No, I'm not about to do that on Twitch, first of all. That's crazy. Oh, my cat's attacking me. Why? Is it really gonna be one of those nights, dude? I'm wearing shorts. If you scratch my thighs, it's gonna hurt. Stop. Please. Okay. Sorry. Now he's fighting me. He's so mean. Orange cat activities. If I just move my monitor over, I'll be able to look into the camera, but I messed it up. I can't move my monitor. I don't have room right now. And I don't want to move the camera. I don't like the angle it'll be at, because all my background stuff will be gone. Poof. So, okay. Might as well get into the reading. So, we are continuing on with Going Dark by Melissa de la Cruz. I'm gonna go ahead. Dude. Why? I'm gonna read the back of the book. I feel it doesn't give you very much justice, but I'm gonna try to give a little refresher on this before we dive right in case some people don't remember or you just weren't here whenever I started reading it, because I haven't read it in a while. My bangs look crazy right now. Wait, does this say anything? Okay. Someone tagged Josh in a post. It was a screenshot of the last photo Amelia had uploaded. A photo he'd taken of her eating the pistachio gelato that she liked so much. She had her head tipped back, her face towards the sun, eyes closed. Overlaid the photo, direct and to the point, was, "Where is Amelia Ashley?" On the inside of the book, it tells us, the influencer. Amelia Ashley shares everything with her followers, her favorite hole-in-the-wall restaurants, her best fashion tips, and her European trip of a life, with her hot boyfriend. The boyfriend. Josh has no choice but to return home without Amelia after she abandons him in Rome. He has no clue where she went or how her blood got in his suitcase. Why won't anyone believe him? The hacker. Harper Delgado. Amelia Ashley is just another missing white girl whipping up a media frenzy. But with each digital knot she untangles about the influencer, Harper wonders, who is Amelia Ashley? The other girl. 2 years ago, another girl went missing. One who never made headlines or had a trending hashtag. The truth. Amelia's disappearance had captured the world's attention. What's coming next? Watch this space. So, basically what we've got so far is, it basically tells you right there. The detective has went through a suitcase and they found Amelia's blood in his suitcase. They haven't tested it and seen that it's her exact type, but not her exact type, her exact blood, but it is her blood type. So they're going off of that, and Josh is like freaking out. He just got a lawyer, I believe. So yeah, it's a whole thing, but I don't even really remember what's going on that much. I'm just trying to help you out. Robo, I'm so sorry I missed it. I don't have my headset on. Thank you for the 1,000 bits. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you for all the follows as well, guys. She said my name, I can die happy. Well, don't do that, Big Tay. That's never a good thing. But anyways, we are on chapter 14. So, here we go. Chapter 14. Amelia Aimlessly YouTube channel. Uploaded on July 31st. Harper. I hate this. I couldn't stop myself. But I had to dig deeper, and what I found is making me feel all kinds of things right now. I don't know what to do with this information, but I need to save it. I need to keep it somewhere safe. Amelia posted a video on July 31st, a couple days into their stay with Sarah Speck. But she immediately made it private, maybe having second thoughts or regretting letting the world see it, but I found it. I was able to hack into her account through a back door and found all her unlisted videos. I didn't want to get this deep into her account, but I couldn't help myself. My heart sank when I saw the title. No punctuation, no snappy title. I don't know, it says, I didn't want this. Sorry. Thank you for the hug, Melvin. No punctuation. Oh my gosh. I didn't want this. No punctuation, no snappy title, just that. I have chills. The video starts sloppily. It's unedited, raw. Amelia adjusts the camera and sits back heavily, her back pressed against the bed. She's sitting on the floor of the room at Sarah Speck's home, alone in the dark. I can't make out much of her face, but I can tell that she's crying or drunk, maybe both. Mascara is smeared on her, and her hair is disheveled. This is not the Amelia Ashley everyone knows and loves. She sniffs and stares at the camera, shoulders slumped. After a long moment, she starts to speak through a thick layer of phlegm. Amelia, I want to go home. I know that it's not exactly something you want to hear from me, but because it's been my dream for so long, this has been the worst experience of my life. Everything leading up to today, it's all just hitting me, how alone I am here. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. All I want to do is curl up in a bed and forget about all of this, but I can't. Our flight doesn't leave for another few days. I'm so desperate. I want to get out of here. There was this huge fight and it's all a mess. I can't be here anymore. I can't be around him. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I am shaking. I can't stop. Harper. When she tucks her hair behind her ear, you can see bruises on Amelia's forearm. She starts to cry again, burying her face in her hands. Amelia, I thought everything was going to be okay, but I feel like I'm losing control. I feel so cold, like I've been hollowed out, and I'm so scared. Her voice cracks. I should never have come here. It was all my fault. I was so eager to come. But Josh, oh God, I don't know what to do. I am so stupid. I didn't know that Sarah would have friends over and everyone hates each other and it's all my fault. I blame myself. And when I think about my parents, oh my God, they won't survive this again. That was a very short chapter. Chapter 15. What is going on? Gotta log in while listening to Mommy ASMR. Hello, Plug. Hi, Hollow. Words are hard. Mommy kisses before bed. Maybe. Hi, Deluxe Zero. So, this book is about a travel / vlog influencer who took a trip to Rome with her boyfriend and he came back without her. And so now there's obviously an investigation going on because she's a missing person. And the detective has found blood in his suitcase that matches the same type as hers. And Harper, whose perspective we are in right now, I know, I don't want to hear it. I know they're not safe. But Harper, we're in her perspective right now. Amelia, the influencer, her friend has been really worried about her. So she contacted Harper, who's a hacker, to try and figure out anything she can and try to find out where Amelia is. So right now we're in Harper's perspective and she is hacked into Amelia's YouTube account. Thank you so much for the 5 bits. Read FNAF on God. You think I should read Five Nights at Freddy's? Okay. I am going to continue with chapter 15. We are still in Harper's perspective right now. Harper Delgado's private journal. I knew it. Something was off here. I did some basic research on Amelia and I can't believe it. I am documenting this in case I feel like I've officially gone crazy. And I need to check myself into a psych ward, but no, I'm certain. One of the first things I do when I'm helping a client of my own is get as much information as I can about a person their age, their place of birth, their address, etc. It was only normal that I did some digging into Amelia Ashley, and I had thought it would be a shoe-in job. The girl documented her whole life online, basically doxing herself, hardly trying to hide any personal details that might be found by someone with the slightest competence with computers like me. She put her whole life on the internet for the world to see, in YouTube videos and her blogs, astrology chart readings with her birthplace and date, documentary style hometown visits, apartment tours, including the exterior of her building, just short of showing off her passport for the camera. You'd think that someone who posted their entire life online would be easy to find, but that's the thing. I can't find any proof that she exists. I figured with a name like Amelia Ashley that she was using some sort of pseudonym, but maybe even using her middle name? A lot of famous influencers do that to keep some measure of privacy, but even with that level of scrutiny, I cannot for the life of me find this girl anywhere. In one of her astrology chart reading videos, she said her birthday was on December 9th, Sagittarius, 2002, and that she'd been born at Magnolia General Hospital in Wichita, Kansas. No baby with her name was born on that day in that hospital. No baby had been born in that hospital on that day, period. That hospital had closed that week due to emergency flooding, so it wasn't even operational. I found a newspaper article about it printed a week before her alleged birthday, so that got me thinking. Weird, but not totally unheard of. Maybe she really was trying to stay private while also providing content for her viewers. So I kept digging. The town she said she grew up in, no record of anyone by the name Amelia anywhere. No high school yearbook photo of anyone named Amelia, or Amy, or even Ashley. The house she said she grew up in is listed as being an empty lot, part of a cornfield in Google Maps. I've attached a screenshot, just so that I can have peace of mind for myself. The address is there. 1057 West Palmer Street. Nothing. Empty. Emptier than empty corn rows. The house had been demolished 5 years ago. You'd think someone with her content brain would want to post a video about how her childhood home was being demolished. It would be perfect, nostalgic, tear-jerking reflection on growing up and how time passes. The last owner of the property died in the 90s. The house she claimed as her childhood home had been empty the whole time. In one of her Q&As, she mentioned her elementary school, Lafayette Elementary. No such school exists in town. One of these things, I might have been able to chalk up to a coincidence, but it's real. I mean, it's fake. It's real that she's fake. Her parents' names, her date of birth, her name, all of it, created, manufactured, phony. She doesn't even go to San Diego State like Tori thought. I don't know what to do with this information. I feel like maybe I'm really losing it and I've gone a step too far, stalking this poor girl who's gone missing. But at the same time, I feel like I've been T-boned by a semi-truck. I don't know which way is up. My head is spinning. I know I need to tell someone about this, someone who can help. If I reveal what I know, will I just be adding to the drama? I've seen what her community is doing, stirring up shit that's just making everything so confusing and emotional and frantic. Would I be making it worse? I want to do what I can to help, but this is too weird. I need to dig more. See what else I can find out before I go to the police. Maybe not the police anymore. This is FBI territory. But then would I be swept in an investigation? If they find out I've essentially been stalking this person, they might start paying attention to me, to how I make my living. I can't have that on my family right now. Not when they're relying on me. No, I need to think bigger, do more research. I've come this far, so I might as well go all in. Would anyone believe me anyway? The question everyone should be asking is, who the hell is Amelia Ashley? When is the next YouTube video? I plan on filming it this week. Fingers crossed. But hang on, I'm getting a lot of notifications. Okay. Someone bought 2 of my Lego sets and they want them deconstructed, so I'm gonna have to do that tonight. Let me take a little water break. I am gonna mute the microphone because my water bottle is loud as hell. Sorry, my throat is dry. Gasoline, you need to drink water. Harper do be a little crazy. Okay. We are in Josh's perspective now. This is the boyfriend. We are on chapter 16. Go home, Josh, Wilkinson said. Once they were outside of the precinct, the air didn't feel any fresher now that they were outdoors. Josh still felt as if he was drowning, fighting to keep his mouth above the surface, while invisible hands were yanking him down into a deep, dark abyss. But what about Amelia? Josh asked. You still believe me? Wilkinson adjusted his tie and sighed. Of course, I still believe you, but you need to keep your ego in check. The police are trying to get a reaction out of you, get you to do something stupid. So you need to relax and let me do my job from here on out. You need to go home and stay put. Don't do anything. Don't even think about anything until you hear from me. Understood? Josh knew the police were using every tactic in their playbook to close the case, and he squeezed his fist to allow himself to focus on the pain in his hand. Fine, he said. I'll go home. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. He was powerless, and the feeling was not one Josh experienced a lot. He hated it. Until they can prove the blood is Amelia's, they can't arrest you. All they can do is keep an eye on you. I know it's not a fun feeling, but it's what you can expect. Maybe take one of those Xanaxes of yours, Wilkinson said. The corner of his lips turned down. It'll help you even out until we can come at this again. When Josh got home, he found the apartment dark and empty. Derek and Tori nowhere to be found. It was a blessing, in Josh's opinion, because he wasn't in the mood to talk to or see another human being for a while. He wondered just exactly what Detective Henmarsh was doing with Amelia's address. Why did they need him to write it down? The question troubled him as he hurried toward the bathroom and flicked on the light, stumbling to find his Xanax bottle in the medicine cabinet. When he did, he popped it open and took one of the pills, swallowing it dry. The medicine didn't work instantaneously, but it felt like it did. It calmed down his jackhammering heart long enough for him to feel like he could breathe again. His eyes closed. He closed his eyes and inhaled deeply. He needed to focus. He couldn't lose hope now. There was still a way he could sort all of this out. There was still time. Mr. Wilkinson was on his side, even if he'd let Detective Henmarsh walk all over Josh, accusing him of purposefully ignoring the bruises on Amelia's wrist. He hadn't even noticed them. They were so faint. It could have been from anything, bumping into a taxi cab door, or knocking into a table at dinner, or even something in her sleep. The police were focusing on the wrong details. Mr. Wilkinson could have easily stood up for him right then and there. Said something that would change their minds. But instead he just sat there, doing nothing. Josh never should have gotten a lawyer. He was looking worse every day in the eyes of the police, the internet, everyone. He hated himself for trying. But what else was Mr. Wilkinson supposed to do? He was his lawyer, but he couldn't protect Josh from himself and his big fat mouth. He should have shut up, but his ego would not let him. It was his fatal flaw. He'd always known that. He'd always had to prove people wrong, or prove them right, never settling for the truth that he couldn't make everyone like him all the time. It was Amelia who'd pointed out in the first place. She poked him in the side with her sharp fingernail and stuck her tongue out at the corner of her mouth and smiled at him. You just don't know when to stop, do you? She said. When Josh opened his eyes, he stared at himself in the mirror. Stop. Stop scratching me. When Josh opened his eyes, he stared at himself in the mirror. In the harsh overhead light, he looked like he was going to throw up. The stress about Amelia's disappearance was manifesting on his face, making him look like he'd aged years in the span of a couple weeks. He gripped the edge of his sink and let out a breath he'd forced himself to hold. It hissed out between his front teeth, easing his shoulders. He felt like a caged animal, pacing at the bars. He needed to do something, even if Mr. Wilkinson said otherwise. Josh went into his room and grabbed his laptop from his desk. He kept the light off as he threw himself into bed and opened the screen, propping the laptop up on his bent knees. Sitting in the comfort of the dark, making it feel safer somehow, Josh pulled up his email. Already 25 unread emails about Amelia stared at him from the first page, even more on the next. Everyone was talking about her now. Local media outlets, international news organizations, even the governor had made a statement. He couldn't escape her. He opened each news article, scanning through every headline, seeing the same cheerful photo of her eating gelato in the sun as the Xanax counteracted his boiling blood. Amateur journalists and amateur detectives alike were fixated on the bruises. No wonder Detective Hindmarsh had brought it up. People were hounding her about it, getting her to pay attention to details that she may have missed. But it only fueled Josh's desperation to prove that he was innocent. If Amelia had been spirited away by some kidnapper, they were going to nail him to the wall for it instead. And even if Mr. Wilkinson could somehow get them to see that he was innocent, they were never going to stop looking at him as a suspect. They couldn't throw him in jail for some blood on a body. They couldn't throw him in jail for some blood and no body. But they'd forever watch his every move, see what he would do next, where he would go. He'd always have a trail, a shadow, waiting to see if he would slip up. Munch jumped up on Josh's bed and curled up at his feet, but Josh barely noticed. His inner voice repeated her name over and over, Amelia, Amelia, where are you? He opened all the unread emails he'd missed throughout the day, finding no answers, no kernel of hope in the lines. His eyes ached, dry and sore from staring at the screen in the dark, and the Xanax was making everything slow. Feeling like it was moving at half speed, it felt like Amelia was in the room with him. He couldn't stop thinking about her. Guys, my cat won't stop attacking me, so I'm gonna kick him out of my room real quick. Those eyelashes, I can't see what they look like when I'm looking down. They're kind of long, yeah, sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing for that, but okay, dude. You gonna go chill out over there now? No, you're gonna come bother me again. Come on. I'm not dealing with it. You can go. Come on. No, you're gonna keep bothering me. You're gonna keep freaking harassing me for no reason. And you're being so rude. Come here. Chunky butt. Come on. Okay. The little devil has been taken care of. I'm doing good. Izzy Red Panda, how are you? Fatherless e-girl, first time chat, and you say, ironically enough, I only drink gasoline. That's crazy. I'm gonna take another drink of water though. He was obsessed. He'd been for a while, but only now, sitting in the dark. His breathing stilted as he opened news articles with her face plastered under the bylines. Did he realize it? Every time he saw her name, he remembered her laugh, remembered the way she'd say his name. And as the hours ticked over from night into morning, he thought he started hearing her for real. Auditory hallucinations. She called his name from somewhere in the empty apartment, and he'd had to stop himself from following. Josh. But she was gone. She was missing, and he needed to find her. He couldn't fight it anymore. The hours moved forward, the articles kept coming, but the Xanax won, dragging him down. Sleep took hold. He dreamed. Josh. Amelia's voice. He stood and turned around, walking right into the hallway of San Diego State, abandoned, his footsteps the only sound. A snowstorm was roaring outside in the middle of Southern California, total whiteout behind the glass windows. There was a fountain at the end of the hallway, and the pool was a smear of red dye, no, red blood, oozing out of the eerie blue water. Trevi Fountain. Whispers surrounded him, and Munch darted out from under his legs, chasing something or running from something. More whispers. Josh turned around in circles. Only whispers. No people. Hello? He called out, but he hadn't moved his mouth. His voice worked on its own. No reply. He walked forward, following his voice as it moved down the hall like smoke. He was alone, always alone, except for Amelia. She met him around the corner, standing in front of him, wearing nothing but a bikini top and her cut-off shorts, like she was going to the beach. She smiled at him, her dark red lipstick a stain on her white skin. Amelia. She laughed and brought her hands to her stomach. They came away red like her lipstick, like the fountain, like blood, her blood. His suitcase was now in her hand. She laughed again, turned, and walked away, her ponytail swinging. He moved to follow, but she was faster, just out of reach. She rounded the corner, the tip of her ponytail disappearing, and her laugh rolling through the hallway like an echo. Josh followed, winding through the hall, each corner folded over the next, impossible twists and turns looping back in one another. And still Amelia remained just out of his grasp. His hands clutched empty air. He chased her, but she was gone. He was getting desperate and ran, but she ran too. He sprinted, his legs moving like rubber. But Amelia moved ahead. He tripped and fell through the floor, falling down. Amelia's laughter, the last thing he heard before he hit the ground hard. The dream felt so real. He jerked awake, stunned by the bright sun pouring through the blinds of his bedroom. The laptop dark but still open beside him. Munch was pawing at his feet, pleading to be fed, but Josh stayed in bed, staring at the ceiling. He could hear the garbage truck rumbling down the street, knowing that the undercover cop car was probably somewhere out there too, waiting for him to come out. He had school, but he was going to call in sick. His body was slick with sweat, his muscles heavy and sore, as if he'd been running for real. He didn't know what to do. He was paralyzed with the weight of the day. It pressed down on him, pinning him like a butterfly trapped under a sheet of glass. He checked his phone. He'd already missed his first lecture of the day. One text from Derek saying that he was staying at Tori's. No text from Amelia. That laugh in his dream. He knew it was only a dream, but she sounded so alive. The outfit she'd worn in the dream overcame his thoughts. He pulled up Amelia's Instagram, viewing it as a guest. His account was still deleted. He scrolled all the way to the bottom. He needed to start fresh, to see one of her earliest posts. The first she'd ever uploaded was a selfie, taken from the floor of her apartment. She was wearing that bikini and shorts outfit. It was a favorite of his. He checked out her profile before they officially started dating. An attempt to get to know her a little better, and that outfit had done its job. It caught his attention. No wonder he'd dreamed of it. She hadn't changed a bit, except for the length of her hair. She was smiling at the camera, her chin propped up by her fist, grinning like she had a secret she wanted to tell. No, it was more like she was grinning at him. The caption read, "Well, hello there. No hashtags, no tagged accounts, just a greeting. Hello, Amelia." The straight edge of her nose, the way her blue eyes sparkled, the gentle twist of her lips as she smirked. It ensnared Josh. The second oldest photo to next, a mirror selfie. Amelia wearing a farmhouse dress and boots. He stared at her wrists, only covered by loose bracelets. Her skin was unmarked, unblemished. No bruises. His stomach lurched at the memory of Detective Henmarsh's scrutinizing gaze. She thought he was an abuser. She thought he was hiding it. If he had bruised her, he hadn't meant to. He loved touching her, loved how soft her skin was, the tickle of her hair against his shoulder when she leaned on him, how easily her fingers interlaced into his own. When he touched her, she felt like something magnetic. He couldn't let her go. This one had a caption, "Just new boots," followed by 3 emojis, a lasso, a cowboy hat, and a target. She always was terrible with captions. She'd gotten better at it the more she worked at her Instagram photos. If he'd been in a better mood, he might have smiled at the idea. Amelia wasn't always so perfect. Munch stared at him, demanding food, his unblinking gaze penetrating Josh's forehead. "I know, Munch," he said. Munch didn't even acknowledge him. He only stared. Josh needed to keep looking. He'd convinced himself that if he looked at Amelia's photos long enough, he could manifest her. He could make her finally reach out to him, finally letting him know that she was okay. But as he stared at her photos, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was missing something. The photo was old, so the comments were old too, and mostly spam. "Great pic, promo on @BeautyGirlsIG. Get more followers now @FollowersForYou. Are you looking for someone? Love it. Send to @HotGirlPics." He went to the next photo, the third earliest. She was on the beach, her arms spread wide in the wind. She either had help taking the photo or had the camera set up on a timer and tripod. The photo had been rotated by 90 degrees, so it looked like she was standing on the side of the frame. The blue waves of the Pacific stretched out behind her, the horizon lining up perfectly with the angle of her head. It looked like it was beheading her. The fourth, Amelia sitting at the fish market at Tuna Harbor. She was grinning over the plate of a whole halibut, cooked with perfect grill marks, its lifeless eyes staring at the camera. The fifth, Amelia with her head thrown back, about to eat a blackberry at a local farm stand. In every photo, she looked beautiful. Not a hair out of place, makeup flawless, composition perfect, lighting immaculate. She knew how to work the camera, how to draw the eye, how to attract attention. Hell yeah, Linkin Park. I don't think I could see them live now, but I would have loved to see them with Chester. Yes, ASMR time. I'm sorry, that was loud. My bad. Oh, my phone. Okay. I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. Each photo got more and more likes. As he went through her photos, he watched her audience grow. More likes, more comments, more attention. Sorry. Everyone loved her. Everyone still loved her. He kept scrolling, flipping through photo after photo, a blur of Amelia's face filling up his vision, until all he could see were her eyes. She looked familiar somehow, but he couldn't place it. She haunted his dreams, his every waking moment, but he felt like he was seeing her face everywhere, and every girl who passed him on the street or stared at him across the classroom. But then something occurred to him. He went back to the first photo, the first picture of her knowing smile. There was something else remarkable about that photo. Nothing that stood out to him, there was nothing else remarkable about that photo, Nothing that stood out to him, so he moved out to the next. And then the next, reading each caption, and then the comments. It was like something flipped his light switched on his brain. Are you looking for someone? The comment was recent and appeared over and over in her photos, all from the same anonymous account, ZM91BMQGW91. At first, it looked like a spam account trying to lure desperate people into a scam, only to breathe them dry of their life savings. It shouldn't have bothered him, but it did. Was it really a bot, or was it something else? He stared at the question on the screen. He was looking for someone. This was right up Amelia's alley, a treasure hunt, like geocaching. Digital hide and seek in the real world, and she was good with computers, studied computer science, and loved codes and ciphers. Adventure was her second nature. She was clever and sharp, like a knife's edge, and that's what made Josh pause. It could be nothing, or it could be everything. Curiously, he Googled and decoded a decoder conversion site and pasted in the jumble of letters from the end of the user's name. CM91BMQGEW91. Decimal, hex, binary, none of it worked except for base 64. The moment he hit enter, he pushed the laptop away from him. He felt like he was truly losing it. He had to be going mad. There had to be a better explanation, a better reason. It must be a coincidence. It couldn't be real. The code was only 2 words. Found you. Chapter 17. Josh. Josh had to go. Somewhere. Anywhere. He was losing his mind. No way. This was too crazy. Found you? What was that? Was it some sort of threat? He hadn't even noticed when he got up from bed, pacing around his bedroom. Wunsch watched him patiently from his disheveled sheets as Josh walked back and forth across his wooden floor. He rubbed the stubble on his chin and ruffled his hair, searching for some sort of reasonable explanation, but he couldn't find one. He heard the front door of the apartment open. Derek was home. Josh could identify the sound of him anywhere, noisy and obvious. Josh, you home? Of course I'm home, he said, emerging to find Derek standing in the entryway, kicking off his shoes, still wearing his dark sunglasses. I have nowhere else to go, not with them watching me all the time. He was starting to sound like a person who actually believed in conspiracies, paranoid. What's the matter? Derek asked. You look terrible. Did they find Amelia? No. He propped his sunglasses on the top of his head, revealing concerned eyes. How'd it go with the lawyer? The noise Josh made was a cross between a groan and a growl. He didn't even want to think about any of that. He held his phone out to Derek, nudging it towards him. I need you to look at something and tell me I'm not losing my mind, okay? Hesitantly, Derek said, okay, as if he wondered whether Josh was going to do something unhinged, like jump out the window or shave his eyebrows. He was feeling like he just might at this point. Josh pulled up a photo of Amelia from her Instagram, one with the anonymous comment. He handed the phone to Derek, wordlessly. Derek looked at the phone and then at Josh, then looked back at the phone. Scroll, Josh said. He started pacing again. Derek scrolled. Okay, what exactly am I looking for? Look closer, at the comments. Josh, do it. He didn't mean it for it to come off like a bark, but it did. His cool, calm, collected demeanor was getting harder to maintain. What do you see? Derek's lips disappeared as he sucked them together, watching Josh for a long while with a knit brow. He caved and looked back at the phone. I see spam bots. Are you looking for someone? Josh said, his voice hoarse with desperation. Tori gets those kind of comments all the time on her Insta. Sugar daddy scams and stuff. Exactly like this, from this account? I don't know, maybe, but dude, have you slept yet? When's the last time you ate? Josh didn't have a good answer for either of those questions. While he knew he'd slept, it didn't feel like it, and he couldn't remember the last time he'd eaten. It might have been yesterday morning before his disaster of a day. Derek must have sensed the growing disturbance swirling in Josh's brain because he patted the air with his hands, as if tamping the space between them. How about you take a seat, take a breath? I'll make you something that doesn't, oh my god. I'll make you something to eat that doesn't come from a box. Does that sound good? Josh threw himself onto the couch and held his hands in his head. Amelia had driven him completely mad. He listened to the sounds of Derek moving around in the kitchen, softly setting down the cutting board on the counter, gently removing his chef's knife from the block, attempting to not make too much noise in case it would spook Josh. It almost made him laugh. Maybe he really was one microwave beep away from a full-on meltdown. Was it really just a spam bot, or was it something else? Derek was right. He wasn't a computer expert like Amelia. He couldn't even begin to understand how Base 64 worked. For all he knew, this was just a coincidence. Previous psychology classes he's taken had talked about Carl Jung's synchronicity? I don't know how to say that word. The concept of coincidence in Casualty, like seeing the same number throughout the day and thinking about a song and then hearing it on the radio. He dreamed of Amelia. She had invaded his every waking thought. Now she invaded his sleeping ones. Of course, he tried to find patterns where there were none. Coincidence was only meaningful when the observer made it so. But what were the chances? A random string of letters that just happened to hide the words, found you? Was this some sort of game, like some messed up version of hide and seek? Would it be out the realm of possibility, truly? Josh made himself breathe, forced air into his lungs as he had on the flight home, attempting to quell his galloping heart. His fingers felt numb as he unlocked his phone again, Amelia's beautiful face smiling up at him once more. He swallowed thickly and clicked on the anonymous account. There was no way of knowing when it had been created. The account only had 2 followers, more spam profiles, and followed no one. Only one picture had been uploaded to the grid. It was a stock photo of one of those plaques you might find at a home goods store, the kind with shallow motivational word art and looping cursive saying, "Live, laugh, love, or believe." This one said, Where the heart is." It had been uploaded the same day Amelia left him. What were the chances? Josh's thoughts swirled, as if circling the drain, leading back to the interrogation last night. Why did the police ask for Amelia's apartment address? What were they having trouble finding? Home, that's where the heart is. His own heart pounded, as if knocking on a door. He had to see for himself. He needed to go. Everything felt too real, too close. He needed to move, or else he might explode. Josh leaped off the couch and grabbed his baseball hat and keys. "Where are you going?" Derek asked. Something was frying in the skillet. The smell of onions would have made his stomach growl if it wasn't churning with anxiety. Josh didn't answer immediately. He peered out of the window blinds, pushing them apart ever so slightly. The unmarked cop car was still out there, a shapeless figure sitting in the driver's seat. He couldn't go out the front. He pulled on his shoes and pocketed his phone. "I have to check on something," Josh said. "If anyone asks where I am, just say I'm in the shower." But before Derek could finish, Josh had already moved to his bedroom. Winch had given up angling for food and had posted up near Josh's pillow, curled in on himself. He barely roused himself when Josh stepped onto his bed, opening his bedroom window and pushed himself through. Before being on the bottom floor, he only had to drop to the back alley pavement. The afternoon was bright and balmy, perfect for a barbecue, and Josh looked both ways up and down the alley to make sure there weren't any pedestrians enjoying the weather, taking shortcuts, or walking their dog. The coast was clear, so he hurried down the lane. Josh pressed himself up against the building and pulled up his hood just before darting between the gaps and buildings in the clear view of the street. His heart raced as he tried to walk as calmly as possible down the sidewalk, perpendicular to his street, waiting for the sound of tires on pavement to follow behind him. But he spared a glance over his shoulder. No one was following him. The unmarked cop car was nowhere to be seen. They didn't know he'd left. He'd escaped, but he needed to be fast. They would know soon enough. I'm gonna sneak to the side over here. Hi. I don't know much about the new lead singer, but I have heard some bad things, so I'm not a big fan, but it's still Linkin Park, so hell yeah, let me know how it goes. Hi, Kebab Man. Hi, Gasoline. I'm gonna try to get a little comfortable here. Okay. Josh waited until sundown, watching the window to Amelia's apartment from the shadows of the building across the street. He needed to make sure that the police weren't milling around, and based on the darkness of Amelia's apartment, they weren't there either. He would bet $1 million that the cops had already visited earlier in the day. Her apartment was one of the few high-rise complexes in the North Park. It was a nice apartment, even though it was small for a studio, but she filmed all her YouTube videos there. It was a quick walk to the nearest pizza place called Artie's Pizza, where he and Amelia would catch up after they'd finished their classes for the day. They didn't share any of the same ones. He ached to have that life back. Now it felt like it was gone forever, since the moment Amelia vanished. The building was quite shabby, with several units already lit up in the quickly darkening evening. But Amelia's unit remained unlit. The last time he'd been here, it had been a week before their trip abroad. He knew he looked like a pervert, standing up at the window of a woman's apartment, but this was different. He couldn't help the rush or fear, or maybe excitement that vibrated through his body seeing her apartment now, after she was gone. He felt like he was nearing the end of this nightmare. It was time to finally get to the bottom of this. Whatever game Amelia is playing, it needed to be over. He crossed the street and pulled out the keys to her place. He remembered when Amelia had presented them to him after they'd started dating, and she'd put them in a small box, the kind usually used for engagement rings, right after they'd finished eating at Artie's. She'd made a big deal about it too, making it seem like this was a moment to be remembered. A girl giving a guy the keys to her apartment means she trusts him, she said, her eyes sparkling in the candlelight. So, if you accept, does it mean you trust me too? Josh opened the door to the main entrance. It always smelled like carpet cleaner and standing water on the lowest floor. As he ascended the stairs to her fourth-floor apartment, he could hear people in their own units moving around, smell the dinners they were making, hear the television shows they were watching, the conversations they were having. He tried not to make too much noise as he went up, but the building was old, and the stairs creaked. He hoped no one would come out. Amelia had always talked about how she'd made friends with her neighbors, especially when they were cooking. She said that the food was the best way to get to know a person. No doubt, if anyone saw him now ascending the stairs towards his missing girlfriend's apartment, they would call the police. Fortunately, he made it to her floor without incident, not seeing a single soul, and he walked down to the hall to her apartment, 4B. His heartbeat thumped in his throat. With shaking fingers, Josh inserted the key to her door and unlocked it. When he swung it open wide, the light from the hallway only caught the bare wood floor. The air smelled stagnant. He waited. Visions of finding her flooded his thoughts. Amelia, dead on the floor, pill bottle in hand. Amelia, hanging in the bathroom. Amelia, sitting on the lounger with her feet kicked up, a grin on her beautiful face. He called in the dark. Amelia? When he flipped on the lights, his stomach dropped. His first thought was that she'd been robbed. His second thought was that the police had cataloged everything for evidence. The third thought was that he was still stuck in a nightmare. Amelia's apartment was empty. All the furniture, gone. All her kitchenware, gone. Television, gone. Wall art, gone. Rugs, books, plants, gone. He stepped into the apartment stunned, taking the view of nothing as the reality of what he was seeing finally took hold of his insides like frozen claws. It was as if she'd never lived there in the first place. This was the right apartment. He'd had the right address. His key opened this door. He'd been here dozens of times, recording YouTube videos with her, shared meals with her on the couch, stared out that exact window, watching the cars amble down the street below. No, he mumbled. No. He rushed into the bathroom, hoping this was a huge prank, but he found it spotless. Not even a water stain on the kitchen sink. Amelia, he shouted to nothing but thin air. His phone pinged in his back pocket. He whipped it out and stared at the screen. New text from unknown number. Do you believe in ghosts? Josh had read the message over a few times before the shock had finally worn off for him to understand the question. It was a strange one. Ever since Amelia's disappearance, he blocked anyone who crossed the line. This question, though, was too strange to ignore. Something in his gut told him to reply. No. He typed out and hit send. He stared at the conversation before a new text appeared almost instantly. You should, Josh Reuter. You should. Josh Reuter, the only person who called him that was Amelia. She was alive. It was her. He gripped his phone so tightly he could have cracked the screen. Thousands of questions stormed in his head. Where are you? Why are you doing this? What happened? What is going on? They layered upon one another until it was just chaotic, a tornado of rage and shame and frustration. Could this be Derek or Tori messing with him? They knew Amelia well enough to pick up her mannerisms, but they weren't the type to play cruel jokes. Who else would know his phone number? He didn't have any other friends. He hadn't posted his number anywhere on his socials. He'd been so good about keeping everything contained, never shared more than he was supposed to online. He kept everything in a neat little package, giving the world exactly what it needed for him to be, just like everyone else, without giving too much away in turn. He was a private person, keeping himself safe, keeping to the sidelines, keeping his head low. That habit of hers, calling him by his full name all the time, like it was one word. He thought it was cute, that it made her unique. Now, he hated her. None of this made any sense. He wanted to throw his phone through the wall, to scream, to pull his hair out. He'd been under the cops' thumb this whole time. She really was alive, and no one believed him. And the truth was right there in his hands. He could run to Detective Hindmarsh now, show her some proof, and maybe she'd take him seriously. Most likely, she'd think he'd truly lost his mind. Amelia was alive, and she was talking to him. Was it all one big game? Had she really been the one who posted that anonymous comment, "Are you looking for someone? Found you?" Had she set this whole thing up? He'd never done anything to her. He'd never hurt her. He loved her with every atom of his being, and this was how she repaid him? She was torturing him like it was fun. He could barely type out the next message. "Why are you doing this?" The reply came shortly after, with a blemishing, smiling emoji. "One more clue. What else do you say when you found someone... Wait. What else do you say when you found something? Archimedes? I don't know what that word is." Josh's thoughts raced above the roar of blood rushing in his head. He closed his eyes and focused on his history knowledge. Archimedes, the ancient Greek scholar, the first to understand the concept of displacement. Then it hit him. Oh, Eureka. His confusion turned into something else as he got very still. His shoulders dropped, and a simmering rage settled on his face. He uttered two words. "You bitch." Part 4. Girl Gone. 5 years earlier. Okay. Taking a little water break. What do we think so far? So far what we know is that she is alive, and she's apparently not really missing. She has faked her death, is what it seems like. And she knows it's all being pinned on him. She knows, but she doesn't seem to care. What do we think? What do we think of the story so far? My cat's scratching at my door, so I'm gonna go deal with that and take a drink of my water. Sorry, my cat wants to play right now. It is very fucked up. Okay, I'm gonna go to the side again. Don't mind me. Okay. Definitely a lot of emotional abuse. He's been going through a lot. Going crazy, trying to figure out where she's at. And mind you, mind you, they went to Rome together, and that's whenever she disappeared. They, like, something that's, like, never happened before. They, like, didn't even get into a fight or anything. He said that there was no reason for her to do this, but she just got up, flipped the table on him while they were out to eat, and stormed off with her suitcase because she wanted to go get some food before they left for the airport so that they could go back home. And so he figured that she would just meet him back at the airport. She was mad about something. He didn't know what. He was really confused. He let her walk off. And then she never came to the airport. Yeah. So that's where we are. This is awful. I read this book a few times. It's so good. This is a really fun part. I have been reading it for so long now, but it's so addicting every time I get started. I don't want to stop. It feels like I've been reading for so much longer than an hour already, though. That's crazy. Okay. Who the fuck is this? Chapter 18. Mignon. I'm assuming is how you say their name. Confidential and personal diaries of Mignon Lee. Date 3-7. Mind you, I think this said it was 5 years ago. Just to make sure, let me check. Yes, okay. So this is 5 years earlier before she went missing. I know my family hates me. They don't try to hide it. I can see it in their eyes whenever they look at me. I'm a disappointment, trouble, work that they need to take care of. I don't blame them, really. I get it. I've been me my whole life. I don't know what it's like to live with myself. I know what it's like to live with myself. Sorry. They can't take me anywhere without me having some sort of meltdown. I can't help that my brain sometimes feels like a nuclear reactor and I'm going to explode. That's why I'm running away. I'm writing this for my family, just so they know I'm okay. For my sister at least. She won't have to worry. I've already packed my bag, headphones, extra clothes. It's raining right now, but I can't find my raincoat. I'm going to use a garbage bag and punch holes in the side for my head and arms. $20, and that'll be enough to get me at least to Sacramento. I've already memorized the bus schedule. I should be going. If my parents accidentally throw this out, and this note winds up somewhere in the trash, carried away by the wind, on its way to the dump, then let me introduce myself. I'm Mignon. I'm 14 years old, and I don't want to be found. Date 3-8. Well, they found me. I only made it halfway down the Elk River Road before the car pulled up over the shoulder and the police officer got out, asking my name. I hadn't thought about giving a fake one, so I panicked. I tried to run into the woods, but he was faster. He grabbed me by my backpack and hauled me back to the car where I sat, still dripping wet from the rain, while he called it in on the radio up front. Apparently my parents had been looking for me. I'm surprised I made it this far. I almost didn't recognize him at first, but it was Officer Kennedy, the same one who'd picked me up last year. I've lost count of how many times I've tried to run away. I could probably go back through this diary and see, but I'm tired. My medicine is kicking in. It's making me sleepy. Officer Kennedy asked me what I was doing out here in the middle of the night in the pouring rain, and I told him to let me go, but he ignored me. He just turned on the engine and drove me home. All the way back to Eureka. Okay, then. So I guess that's what the text was about. I'd walked almost 4 miles by the time he found me. My sneakers were already soaked through. So I guess maybe I could plan better for next time for unexpected rain. Maybe bring some boots, especially if I'm going to have to cut through one of the national parks. I can't get very far with lakes in my shoes. He didn't even turn on the radio for us to listen to music as he drove. It was so quiet. and it smelled like armpit in the back seat. There was sand on the cracked vinyl, and it made everything so itchy. Someone must have been picked up from the beach, and then my wet clothes picked up the sand, and I couldn't sit still. Officer Kennedy kept looking at me through the rearview mirror. I couldn't really see the rest of his face, but his eyebrows were narrow, and he pulled up. By the time he pulled up to my house, the rain had mostly stopped, but he had to let me out from the back. The door was locked. I already tried it. He watched me as I climbed out of the car. Mom and Dad weren't even waiting for me on the porch as usual whenever this happens, which means they were inside. I could see the kitchen light on. Dad's car was gone from the drive. I figured maybe to look for me, but Mom's old Jeep was parked in the street. Officer Kennedy kept watching me as I trudged through the driveway, as if he thought I might try to brake for it again. But my shoes were making squish, squish, squish noises as I walked, and he followed close behind me, so I wouldn't have made it far anyway. He stood behind me as I opened the front door and went in. I kicked my shoes off and tried to hang my sopping socks on the radiator. They were limp, like wet noodles, slapped the floor when they slipped off. I heard Mom moving in the kitchen, but she wasn't making dinner. I only heard the soft dink the wine glass made as it sat down on the table. Officer Kinney watched me from the side door. Sorry. His hands looped on his belt. He asked, "Can I talk to someone?" I called the mom, and she came shuffling out in her scrubs. Her soft blonde hair was falling from a messy bun, and she massaged her face as she walked towards the front door. Officer Kennedy introduced himself and said where he'd found me, up past Hupmold Hill. Mom sighed, a thank you, and said I wasn't going to be trouble again. "We can't keep doing this," he said. Then he said he might call child services if Mom or Dad couldn't keep watch over me. The specific words he used were child endangerment. Mom apologized, pleading for him to not do that. That we were already working on it, and that he didn't need to call anyone. Officer Kennedy said he hoped not. The police couldn't keep wasting more resources like this forever. Mom apologized again. I couldn't look at either of them because I know both of them were looking at me, so I turned my attention elsewhere. From the shadows on the stairs, my sister was sitting halfway up the steps, her fingernails painted bright green as she gripped the post of the railing, peering at me through the gaps. Mom thanked Officer Kennedy, ending the conversation, and watched him leave before she closed the door. She didn't even look at me. She just turned around and went back to the kitchen, and I knew to follow. I shivered in the cold. The rain made my clothes stick to me like gum. My trash bag poncho idea hadn't worked out the way I pictured. I ripped it off myself, and it fell in shiny black pieces to the floor. I towed at them with my bare feet and gathered them in a pile while Mom took her spot at the kitchen table, handling her mostly full wine glass with one hand while she held her head forward with the other. Gaming with Goons has entered the PC giveaway. Let's go. I asked where Dad was, and she paused a moment, taking me in with her steady gaze before she said he was out looking for me, like I'd thought. She asked why I was doing this again. She thought we'd been over this, that I couldn't run away like that, and I didn't have a good answer. No one really gets me. I doubt they ever will. I didn't have the heart to tell her I never really meant to leave forever. I always mean to come back. I don't think it'll be a satisfying answer for someone like her, someone who is happy, rooted exactly where she is. Sometimes I get the urges to run, to be somewhere else, and I can't help it. It's like I'm possessed, and I need to move or else I'm going to die. Literally die. Heart stopped on the floor. She doesn't understand. She never inherited whatever mental problems Grandma had, but I did. Lucky me. Except when Grandma had her problems, the medicine hadn't been created for it. Plus, most people didn't believe a housewife could ever be unhappy. We just didn't talk about that kind of stuff. It was good manners. But when Mom looked at me over the kitchen table with tired eyes after working a double at the hospital, asking me why again, I didn't know, and I still don't. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like if I wasn't around anymore, if I'd never been born. I think about someday people, finding people who might understand me. That's why I leave, so I can find a place to rest my head where it doesn't feel like I'm trouble. Mom didn't say anything else, just covered her eyes with her delicate hand, blocking me out of sight, so I left her alone. I climbed the stairs, squeezed past Sis, palmed her head for balance, and took a bath. The sand from the police car fell off my skin and gathered at the bottom of the tub. I heard Dad come home. He slammed the front door behind him. I knew he wasn't mad. When he's scared, it can come off as mad. The door just happened to be the best thing to let out his feelings on. I used my foot like a squeegee to push the sand down the drain. I couldn't get rid of it all. It's kind of like me and impulses. I could try to push them down, but sometimes a little bit remains and piles up before I know it. There's a beach in my bathtub. There's a beach in my bathtub of a brain. Thank you so much, Mushroom, for the 10 bits. I love and appreciate you. You enter the PC giveaway with channel points. As I unpacked all of my things in my room, I heard Mom and Dad talking downstairs. I knew it was about me. I heard my name a few times. I didn't care. At least they weren't yelling. All my clothes were wet, my headphones totally busted, and I'd completely forgotten to put the Nokia in a plastic baggie so it dripped out water when I tipped it over. No phone, no music, square one. Everyone knows I'm going to run away again. It's only a matter of time. I think maybe I won't for a while, though. I took my medicine and things got quieter. I can lie on my bed and stare up at my ceiling and the glow-in-the-dark stars we put up there and think about all the places I could go, dreaming about someday. Date 7-30. I learned a new word today. It was in a book called Travels of a Forgotten Voyager. I found it in the attic when we were cleaning out the garage sale. Wanderlust. Noun. A longing to wander. Do you think a lot of people have it? Or do you think it only affects a few? It's kind of nice knowing that other people feel what I'm feeling and put a name to it. It's like I'm part of a club. It says out of stock. It shouldn't say that. It'll say that if you've done it before, because you're only allowed one per person. Chapter 19. Mignon. Date 111. Mom and I went to the mall today. I needed new shoes since I'd worn holes in the toes of my old ones. I was happy to go. I wanted to spend time with her, really. Just hanging out. Lots of people were at the mall, and she kept me close as she stopped and said hi to some of my classmates' moms. All of them were wearing leggings and carrying water bottles. Later, Mom would tell me apparently it's a group that gets together and walks for miles in the mall. Mall walkers. I don't really understand it. They just walk in circles, pumping their arms and chatting. Around and around in circles they go. Where do they stop? Nobody knows. Don't they feel like hamsters in a cage? What a nightmare. The other moms looked at me while Mom tried to strike up a conversation, but I knew I was the subject of the mall walkers' gossip. My classmates know all about my outbursts and how I'm a distraction when teachers are trying to teach. Thanks, Mrs. T. Because I look Chinese, like Dad, people always think I should be good at school for some reason. They said to my face, teachers, counselors, even the vice principal last year, they all think I should be a model student. I'm not the smart one in the family. I already have enough going for me. Can't have it all. They don't say the quiet part out loud, that they think all Asians are overachievers with perfect grades. But I get the message loud and clear, and when I call them out on it, they say not to take it so personally, that it's actually a compliment, and that they can't be racist for assuming something good. Fun fact, it's still racist. And me saying so just makes them angry, and it gets me in more trouble. So I wasn't really surprised when the mall walk moms smiled at me, but the smiles only went halfway up their faces, which let their eyes tell the real truth. They want to know why I'm not quiet, demure, or obedient like they expect. I don't really remember what they talked about, but Mom waved as they left, then looked at me and rolled her eyes, smiling. She said those ladies were nothing but gossip, and we laughed and went the opposite way. Mom never liked them, and I asked why she bothers being nice, and she said it's because it was the adult thing to do. More adult than mall walking? I asked, and she laughed, and it felt good. Things have been better between me and Mom. It's been almost a year since I ran away last, and I have no intention of doing it again. It's like we're friends again. We got to the discount shoe outlet, and Mom bought me boring white sneakers. At least she let me wear them out of the store. I know my parents have some money, but they don't buy us fancy things. Maybe because they know I'll just ruin anything they get me. I have a tendency to doodle on things. It gives me something to work on, and soon these white shoes will be totally covered in ink. My jeans, my hands, and my arms, sometimes my legs. I'll draw on myself until I'm blue, literally. Why buy me expensive jeans if I'm just going to make a mess of them anyway? This book is called Going Dark by Melissa de la Cruz. I got to break in my new shoes as we walked all the way to the other side of the mall to Claire's. They always have the best jewelry for kids my age, sparkly earrings and bracelets. Oh my gosh. Sis and I got our ears pierced here when we were really little. My ears are closed up though, because I didn't wear a lot of earrings. The doctors told Mom and Dad I shouldn't have sharp and pointy things. Mom had to pick up a new phone case for Sissy, so I made a lap, like the mall walkers, through the aisles. I didn't have any money, but that was okay. I just wanted to see some of the shiny things and think about what I would do if I had $1 million. I'd buy everything. I came upon a display tower full of necklaces that had names on them. I can never, ever find my name on anything. Do you think I could change my name someday? Maybe I would be able to find my name on a necklace then. I couldn't even find one with Sissy's name. Bogus. But I did find some necklaces that didn't have any names on them. One was actually 2 in 1. A matching pair with compass pendants. Exactly my style. For you and for your bestie, the label said. I already had someone in mind, but it cost $20. I didn't have $20. I heard Mom talking with the clerk on the other side of the store, under the blaring pop music. And I knew she'd say no if I asked her for money. Knowing me, I'd lose it almost immediately. Dad jokes that when I set things down, it's like they disappear into a parallel dimension, never to be seen again. But these necklaces looked like the real silver, and I wanted them so bad. If I had one, I'd never take it off. I knew I shouldn't have done it, but I needed it. Oh wait, sorry, I read that wrong. I didn't need it, but I felt itchy all over again. A part of me said to do it. It wasn't hurting anyone. I knew Mom would be mad if she found out, but it's not like I was running away again. I wanted to have something for myself. A secret. Everyone knows everything about me all the time anyway, so I might as well have something just for me that no one else knows about. My mom called my name. She was ready to go home. She never saw me slip the necklaces into my pocket. Date 7-9. I got mosquito bites all over. Me and Sis stayed out too long in the treehouse again, way after dark, and the bugs went to town on our arms and legs. I've been making little X's on them since coming inside, but they're already red and itchy. And now they just have X-shaped indents in them from my fingernail. It's supposed to stop the bite from itching, but I think it makes me look like a map now, with tons of X marks, the spots all over. After dinner, Sis and I went to play in the yard. It's one of the few times Mom and Dad let me go anywhere alone, when I'm with her. She wanted to show me how many cartwheels she could do, and I showed her how the blood rushed to my head when I stood on my hands. I can't ever do it for very long, so if I fell over, we laughed until we were both red in the face. After it got dark, we went up in the tree house Dad built for us when we moved in. Sorry. Easily the coolest place ever. We go up there to count falling stars and share secrets. I think about making it my room someday, moving my bed up there and trying to live on my own. Sis says that's stupid, but what does she know? She's only 13. I could do it if I really wanted to. I just have to try. We sat up there with the lantern and went through all of the travel books I found in the attic while we were cleaning it out last month. I even found an old map that I nailed to the wall, and we could trace our fingers on the lines, measuring how far it would take to get from one destination to another. 3 fingers long to Seattle, 5.5 to Vegas, too many to Mexico. We've spent hours up there talking about all the places we could go, all the things we could see and do. I can't wait until I'm old enough to go by myself. I could wake up and choose any place to be, and then I would be there. Simple. Australia had its own book, all by itself. There are tons of pictures of the deadliest animals on the planet in there. I guess Australia has the most kinds that can kill people. Like, the whole continent is designed to scare people away. I think it's awesome. Imagine having a touch that hurts, that can kill, like the box jellyfish. It floats around, not really having a brain, going wherever the current takes it, and it catches its prey and stings it to death. And then it keeps on floating, not tied down by anything at all. The ocean scares me, though. It's so deep. I'm too afraid to go, even when we make trips to the beach. I've got a whole list of all the places I'd like to go. Iceland, ice and volcanoes. France, to fall in love. Antarctica, the loneliest place in the world, but I think it'd be peaceful. Japan, visit one of those hot springs outdoors. Italy, it's where all the best food is. Mom inherited all Grandma's recipes. Galapagos Islands. I want to see one of those giant tortoises, just once. I could die happy. Sis hates flying. She's scared of it. But I told her it's one of the safest ways to travel. She could see the world, born at the right time. When only a few generations behind us, people still had to spend weeks on a boat or train to get them where they wanted to go. Now all we have to do is go to an airport and take a nap, and we're in a new city. She's still scared, but at least I got her to smile. I know what else would make her smile. She's so smart. And sometimes I forget that she's still so young. She's got a lot to learn about the world. I had the necklaces that I had been saving in my pocket, and I showed them to her. The silver glinted in the lantern light, and Sis's eyes got as big as the moon. They're big and round like Mom's. She asked me where I got them, and I said it wasn't important. I tore up the little cardboard backing and gave one to her. She cried, even though I think she's too old for it now. She cries easily, but this time I understood why. She thought I was leaving again, that this was the parting gift. She hates it when I run away. I told her I wasn't going anywhere. I said I wanted to leave all the time, but I always want to come back. I can't stay away from her too long. She's my other half. She said I hurt her feelings whenever I go, because she feels like it's her fault, that she's not good enough for me to stick around. But I told her that as long as she's got her necklace, I'm always with her. She didn't believe me. She pouted, like a little kid, which made me laugh. To make her feel better, I let her set up tracking on my Find My app, a way for her to check on me, just in case. I think she's lonely. It's tough to be a kid genius, homeschooled most of her life, and already taking college classes online. It's kind of scary how smart she is. Most kids her age are intimidated by her, and most of her college classmates don't want to hang out with her. Watching her set up my phone, my heart broke a little for her. I wish there was more I could do, but when I go to college, she'll be on her own. I think I'm her only friend. I'd never do anything to jeopardize that. I told her that we had too much traveling together to do still. I wasn't going to leave her behind. Okay. Not as much water as I'd like to drink. It's running out, but hey, hi, sorry. I'm streaming on TikTok as well, and they'll kick me off if they see me doing that, so. Chapter 20. Mayon. Date 9/15. It's been a while since I've last written in my diary. A lot's been going on. School is keeping me busy, and I've barely had time to think about it. Maybe that's a good sign? I don't feel like I need to seek solace here. Writing in this diary is one of the only places, like, oh my gosh, okay. Writing in this diary is one of the only places I can really spill my guts without any judgment. It's helped me so much. It's crazy to look back at how far I've come. I can finally breathe. But I have to spill. There's a new boy at school. His name is Bennett, and he moved here from Colorado. I've always wanted to go to Colorado. And climbing a mountain. Add climbing a mountain to my bucket list. Bennett said he'd take me sometime, but I think he was just joking. When he smiles, my stomach flips. I really like him. Really, really like him. I've had crushes on people before, but this feels different. I told Mom about him this morning when she was packing my lunch in a brown paper bag. I love paper bag lunches. The food she packs in them tastes different. I don't know how. Different tastes better. Mom has never skipped a day to pack lunch for me, even though she's got a long shift at the hospital ahead of her. She always knows my favorite foods: peanut butter and jelly sandwich cut diagonal, baby carrots, pretzels, sliced radishes, and a fruity yogurt. No sliced radishes for sis. Such a picky eater. More for me. It's not a 5-course meal, but it might just be. Dad used to make me lunches before he got the fancy job. My favorite is his sticky tofu. Exactly how Mom does it in China. Exactly how his mom does it in China. But I can't eat it at school anymore. Too many kids made fun of the smell, saying I was eating rotten garbage for lunch. I know Dad was heartbroken when I told him I couldn't bring it anymore, but he didn't say so. I don't care that I'm already 16 and I still let my mom pack my lunch for me. It's her way of telling me she cares. I think she notices that I've been feeling better too. It wasn't overnight, but ever since they got me on my new medication, I've been sleeping better and it's making life a little easier. My moods don't swing as bad as they used to. I'm not cured, but that's not the point. Mom and I have been getting along better. I think me talking about my crush with her proves it. And she smiles when she writes my name on the bag, flourishing it with the stroke of her Sharpie. Is this what love is? Making things? Mom packed me lunch, Dad making spring rolls, playing hide and seek with Sissy outside? Maybe. I'll have to do some more research. Love in the movies looks different. Time stops and the love interest walks in slow motion. Stopping time would be a cool superpower. It kinda happened like that when I saw him and I couldn't look away. It's like everything got still and I saw my whole future ahead of me. I'm going to ask him out. Maybe I'll show him the treehouse. I hope he said yes. I hope he says yes. I'll have to find the North American travel guide. It's around here somewhere. Mignon and Bennett. and Bennett. I don't know why I said it like that. Equals heart. Okay. We are on chapter 21. It is still the diary. Oh Lord. Okay. I am gonna go refill my water bottle and probably take a really quick smoke break. I am not reading Playground. Why would you want me to read Playground? I know that, but I know what that fucking book is. No. No. Okay, I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle. I love the lashes, thank you. I have to have them long and dramatic, like I'm gonna fly away like a butterfly whenever I bat my eyes at you, or else they're not good enough. Okay, I'll be back. I'm gonna pull my shorts down, they ride up and my ass is hanging out the back and I don't want to flash you guys, so. Okay. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back. I do have a silly orange cat. Okay. Let me move to the side for a second. He's almost fully loafed. Look at him. He's almost fully loafed, chat. Look at this man. Look at this boy. He's chunky. That's my chunky boy. Okay. Small. Alrighty. Chapter 21. Mignon. Date 6/11. It's wild that Bennett and I are official. It's only been a few months, but it feels like a lifetime ago when I asked him out in the treehouse. I didn't think he'd say yes, but he did. He saw something in me he liked, and I wanted to chase that feeling. I'm not quite sure what he sees in me. I know I don't have to. I know I don't have a very high opinion of myself. Six. I can't read now. Sis likes him too, although she's too shy to hang out with us when he comes over. I want to be loved, I really do, but sometimes I wonder if I deserve it. I know I haven't earned it. Things have gotten better though, really. My doctor says medication is doing its job and wants me to stay on it. My grades are up, I get along great with mom and dad. Better than ever. I have more, I have, I even have more friends. Jenna Johnson invited me to her birthday party next month. A year ago, she wouldn't even have acknowledged my existence. It was tough going for a while, but I see the proof in the diary. I've been reading through it because this one's almost all used up. There are only a few blank pages left. I get to add to my collection when it's done, rereading what I wrote. Even just a couple of years ago, it's hard for me to believe we're the same person. I wonder how much better it'll get next year and the year after that. Last weekend, Bennett brought me up to his family's cabin at Shasta Lake. His uncle has a boat and snorkels and mopeds and other fun stuff to do. I've never been before, but it's beautiful. A glassy lake surrounded on all sides by lush evergreens. When we took a hike up through the woods to the cliffs, we got a bird's eye view of the lake. It was like an ink splotch, this craggy blue hole in the world. It actually reminded me of a fork of streaking across the sky. Lightning streaking across the sky. We lounged on the beach. Thank you so much for the roses. We lounged on the beach and we talked and soaked up the sun and ate so much barbecue I could have burst. My mouth is still watering. Bennett let me talk about all the places I'd want to go next. I probably talked for hours about Guam and Kenya and Turkey and Iceland, and I think he likes to listen to me talk. I don't think it's just because he wants to hear me go on and on about volcanoes in Iceland forever. Maybe he can see himself going to these places too. I didn't bring my diary with me. I barely had time to write anyway. All I want is to be with Bennett. Sorry, that was probably really loud. Mushroom on Mars. Thank you so much for the 100 bits. Loaf of cat doing loaf cat things. Where'd he go? Did he leave the room when I came in? Oh, he's under my desk. Okay. No, because I was showing him to you guys when I came in the room, so that wouldn't make sense. I am reading Going Dark by Melissa de la Cruz. It's a really good book. I suggest you read it. I'm probably spoiling it for you right now, though, so... Chapter 22. Amelia. 2 weeks later, Amelia was putting the finishing touches... Why did it switch perspectives like that? Wait, Amelia... I think Amelia's the younger sibling. Oh my god. Okay. Amelia was putting the finishing touches on a binary grid puzzle when Mignon burst into her room and threw herself on her bed. She was always doing that, suddenly entering Amelia's dimmed bedroom like morning sunlight. "Can I help you?" Amelia asked, looking at Mignon from the corner of her eye as she kept typing. "I'm busy." Mignon's smile was bright and infectious. "What are you doing?" "Making a geocache puzzle. It's a scavenger hunt if people know the cipher." "For fun?" Mignon interrupted. "Come on, it's summer. You're too pretty to be sitting inside all day being a computer nerd. You're pale enough as is." Amelia gave her sister a withering look and returned to her work. "I have a favor to ask." Mignon said. "A tiny little favor." Amelia groaned and spun around in her chair. "What? Do you want me to swap chores again? I'm tired of doing dishes." "Not that. I was hoping you could keep a secret." A secret? Mignon's warm brown eyes sparkled and her lips curled, holding back a mischievous smile. Even though they were sisters, she and Amelia looked almost nothing alike. Amelia always admired the way Mignon's presence could brighten any room. Mignon was her own stylist, artfully cutting and shaving her shiny black hair so she could. So sorry, I can't speak right now. So she looked even more like a rock star and doodled on her arms and pinned like temporary tattoos, and tore holes in her jeans to add even more personality to her wardrobe. She was wild and free, and it made her beautiful. Amelia never felt brave enough to do any of that. When people looked at Amelia, I have to sneeze. I guess I'm fine for now. I don't know, maybe I need to look down. Maybe my sinuses are just acting up. I hate this weather. I'm so ready for fall. Yeah, it's my sinuses. Oh my god, I really thought I had to sneeze. My fucking nose started burning. Sorry. Yeah, Amelia is. You also have an orange car. Hell yeah. Hi, bleed green. Oh my god, now I can't breathe. Okay, where was I? So sorry. Amelia never felt brave enough to do any of that. When people look at Amelia, they saw a white girl, light hair, light eyes, not quite blue, not quite gray. When they went to visit their dad's side of the family in Beijing 2 years ago, they accepted Mignon at face value alone. They admired her big eyes and her pointed nose, and aunties would grab her by the chin, saying she was blessed with a first love face. It didn't matter that Amelia was fluent in Mandarin and could code as well. As the first year at Peking University, she was still treated like her mother, an interloper. I'm going away with Bennett this weekend to his cabin at Shasta Lake. He invited me up there alone. I don't want mom or dad to know, so I need your help. You mean you want me to lie? It's not really a lie, it's just I'm going to tell them I'm sleeping over at a friend's house. That's not exactly a lie, is it? Yeah, it is. Mignon rolled her eyes and slid off Amelia's bed. She went over and grabbed Amelia around the wrist, tugging on them like she'd used to when she wanted Amelia to go outside with her to play. She was the only person who could pull Amelia away from her computer. Come on, sissy. Don't call me that, Amelia groaned, nudging her glasses up her nose. She hated that nickname. Mignon's laugh was like a ringing bell. Just this once, I owe you big time. Amelia knew Mignon wasn't going to let it go. Once she... I really feel like I'm saying this name wrong, but I'm just gonna keep saying it like... like steak. I don't know. Once she had her mind set on something, she was going to do it. There was no use putting up a fight. Amelia thought about it a moment. She was a terrible liar, but when Mignon flashed those sparkling brown eyes at her, she couldn't resist. She smiled back at her sister. It was the one feature they had in common. People always said they had the same smile. Fine. Don't forget that you owe me. Mignon whooped with victory. You're the best, sissy. Amelia turned the page of her vintage mystery novel, pausing to wipe a drip of red-flavored popsicle from the paperback. She figured out who the killer was ages ago, but it hadn't spoiled the experience. Part of the fun was getting to the end, to see it all come together. She liked reading outside, sprawled under the clothes hanging on the line, drying in the heat of the sun. She bit off the last half of her popsicle as her phone rang from a number she didn't recognize. She let it go to voicemail and returned to the story. Her parents were out, Mom had a shift at the hospital, and Dad on a business trip in Hawaii. With Mignon away with her boyfriend all weekend, Amelia had the entire house to herself. She'd done laundry, tidied her room, and vacuumed the floors. Amelia even made lunch for herself, a relatively healthy one that consisted of avocado and tomato, which made her feel doubly grown up. Her parents always said she was mature, independent, could take care of herself. They didn't need to worry about her. Not like Mignon, who would be heading to college soon, something that had her parents both nervous and hopeful. Amelia dreaded Mignon leaving, but privately, through their worries, though their worries were overblown. It had been years since Mignon had run away or had a manic episode. While Amelia waited for her clothes to dry and licked the melting popsicle juice from between her fingers, enraptured by the story unfolding in her novel, her phone went off again. It was the same number. She had half a mind to shut her phone off. She barely answered the phone as it was, but for some reason, something prickled at the back of her mind. When she picked up, she heard her mother's voice on the other end. "Amelia, has Mignon called?" "No," she said, chomping on the wooden stick that had been her popsicle. She felt like an outlaw in an old Western movie, a quick draw with the score to settle. She pointed her finger at the sun like a gun and pulled the trigger. "Why didn't you call me on your cell?" "My phone ran out of battery. I can't find a charger cable anywhere. I don't know where it is." Something in her mom's tone made the skin on Amelia's neck tight. She sounded frantic, haggard, and she only sounded like that when Mignon was in trouble. "What's wrong?" "Mignon didn't text me. She's not picking up her phone. I'm just worried Maybe she forgot?" Amelia asked, though she herself sensed that it was out of character. She hadn't gotten any text from Mignon either. No annoying series of emojis describing something adorable Bennett had done or had said or done. Or maybe Jenna's house had bad reception. She sold the lie that Mignon had stayed over at Jenna Johnson's house over the weekend, as Mignon had asked her to. "I'll call her for you." "I've tried calling her. Her phone keeps going to voicemail." "Hi, this is Mignon. You know what to do. Beep." Amelia knew that voicemail so well. She could imitate it perfectly, as she often had, just to bug Mignon. "Because maybe she ran out of battery too, Mom. Don't worry." Amelia tried to calm her mother down, but she could hear the panic bubbling between every word. She hooked her thumb around her compass necklace and raked the pendant across her chin, finding comfort in the way it vibrated against the metal grooves. Her mother took a shaky breath. "Please call this number back if you hear from her. I'm calling Jenna's parents now. Just take it easy. I'm sure it'll be fine." Mom didn't sign off. She just hung up. Amelia stared at her phone. Her book forgotten. In a few minutes, Mom would find out Mignon had never gone to Jenna's in the first place. Her gut coiled with nerves. I suck at reading right now. Oh my god. Oh, well, hey there, big black cat. Happy to see you in. You have a really beautiful voice. Thank you, Bleed Green. I'm gonna take a drink of water real quick. It's probably gonna be loud, so I'm gonna mute. And I need a new cartridge for my bottle. You just smile. Jesus. Mignon had a tendency to disappear, but this time felt different. A year ago, Mignon let her set up her Find My app to track her phone. So when Amelia opened it up, She located Mignon's little phone icon and tapped on the profile. Mignon's iPhone, offline. Play sound, lost mode. The last known location was a giant circle around a green and blue map of Shasta Lake. Since it was turned off, it needed to use GPS data of its last known ping to guess where it could be. Amelia tried to stop her heart from hammering, but she couldn't help it. Had she really run away again? Amelia swallowed the guilt building in her throat and desperately grasped for any other explanation. She could be having such a good time with Bennett. Maybe she lost track of the days. The sweetness of her popsicle had turned sour as she stared at her phone with ever-growing dread. "What happened, Min?" she asked under her breath. Chapter 23. Amelia. "And do you have any reason to believe that your daughter is in danger?" Officer Kennedy asked, bored, as if he were reciting his line in a play. He'd grayed out over at his temples since Amelia had seen him dropping Mignon off after the last time she'd run away. But he was still the same Dick who used to stare between Amelia, Mignon, and their parents as if their very existence was offensive. Amelia and her mom had gone straight to the Eureka police station, once again washed across the sky, and there was still no word from Mignon or Bennett. She was with her boyfriend this weekend. His mom said her eyes flickered towards Amelia for a split second before they went back to Officer Kennedy. Mignon might be mad at her, but Amelia thought it was worth it. At Shasta Lake, we can't get a hold of either of them or his parents. Mom desperately clung to her purse, leaning forward on the counter, as if it were helping her stand up. In the harsh fluorescent lights of the police department, Amelia noticed how much older her mom looked. Officer Kennedy typed into his computer, the screen obscured, but he didn't seem to be in any rush. Amelia watched his fingers move, but his face remained impassive. "Mignon Lee," he said as he typed it out. "Yes," Mom said, breathily. "This is the one who'd run away before, correct?" Mom's lip pressed into a thin line. "Yes." "The one with bipolar disorder?" "Yes." "And the drug problem?" Amelia clenched her fist at her sides. "Mignon is on medication," Mom said, the word coming out sideways. Despair was rolling out of her. Amelia could practically feel it in the air. Amelia forced herself to speak calmly, even though her blood was boiling. None of that other stuff matters," she said. "My sister is missing. Can you send someone up to look for her and Bennett?" Officer Kennedy barely looked at Amelia, but when he did a double take. When people learned that she and Mignon were sisters, most of the time they assumed Mignon was adopted, and it was offensive to say the least, and Amelia hated it. She frowned at Officer Kennedy, who resumed typing. "You say she was last in Shasta Lake," Mom said. "How many times do I have to—" "I'm just getting all the facts, ma'am. Bear with me." Mom glanced at Amelia, perhaps looking for assurance, and Amelia tried to give it to her with a small smile, but Amelia felt like they were going up against a brick wall. She'd had to defend Mignon her entire life. When she was younger, she'd get angry at her sister for the way she was. She didn't know what bipolar meant. She heard other kids at school use it when they were being dramatic and trying to explain their mood swings. Her parents hadn't explained it to her until she was old enough to understand, and Amelia had felt guilty for the way she thought of her sister. Having bipolar disorder meant that Mignon's mood would swing from extreme manic episodes to extreme depressive episodes. Amelia had ugly memories of crying in her room because Mignon had spoiled her birthday due to an episode of mania that made her stay awake for days. Those memories embarrassed her, but she worked hard helping Mignon once she realized what was going on. Being mad at her for her illness was like being mad at the sun for rising and setting every day. It was a cycle, one to plan for and manage. Amelia knew a lot of other people weren't going to be so understanding, and if Mignon didn't have her family to back her up, no one would. Officer Kennedy seemed as uninterested as possible. It sounds like it's only been a few hours since you last heard from her, and you said she's 17. She always calls, Amelia said, taking over for Mom, who haggardly ran her fingers through her blonde hair. She would never let it go this far. Mom shouted, "She's a kid, please." Officer Kennedy said, "I'm sure it'll all work out, ma'am." "I'm begging you," Mom said, "help us." Amelia lifted her head and stared furiously at Officer Kennedy until he finally looked away, muttering something about filing a report. The detective assigned to the case came over to the house the following morning. His badge said his last name was Foster. He was a balding white man in his 60s, rather unremarkable appearance-wise, and all Amelia truly remembered about him was that he smelled like cigarette smoke. He took a look around Mignon's room, giving it a once-over before he sat with them in the living room, his tea untouched on the coffee table as he took notes about Mignon. "We're so grateful someone is taking this seriously," Mom said, a little breathless. "Thank you for coming over so quickly." "Our daughter, she's a good girl," Dad said to the detective. He'd taken a red-eye flight from Hawaii, cutting short his business trip and landing in Sacramento only hours before and driving through the morning to make it home. He held onto Mom's shoulders, tracing his thumbs against her biceps to calm her down. Shadows hovered under his eyes, weighing him down even more. "We don't know what else to do." "I've been informed of your daughter's previous history with running away. Can you tell me more about that?" the detective asked. "Mignon's had some difficulties with her mental health, but that shouldn't be an issue. She's been doing better. She hasn't shown any indication that she would run off again. We're still not able to reach her." The detective nodded. "And Mignon, is that an angelicized version of another name, and one that might be harder to pronounce?" He didn't want to ask if she had a Chinese name. "No, her legal name is Mignon, just like her sister is named Amelia," Dad said, trying to keep his tone level. A spike of annoyance made Amelia's lip twitch, and she swallowed the acid creeping up her throat. Mignon wasn't angelicized anyway. It was obviously French, but she didn't dare to open her mouth to say anything about it. This guy was supposed to be smart enough to find a missing person. Mom shook her head, her eyes welling up with unshed tears. Sorry. She must have sensed the tension in the air. I cannot speak. The detective was latching onto the wrong things. Amelia could barely take it, seeing her parents like this, so she stared at her parents between her knees. All she wanted to do was sink into the couch. It had been her fault. If she hadn't covered for Mignon, lied for her, then maybe they wouldn't be in this situation. Detective Foster's lips pressed into a tense, flat line. "Unfortunately, we don't have a lot to work with. I went to Bennett's home and interviewed him before coming here." Mom's knuckles went white as she clutched onto Dad's hand, and Amelia's heart thumped against her ribcage. She felt like it was going to explode. Dad asked, bewildered, "You spoke with him?" "He said Mignon left on her own. Do you have any idea why?" Mom and Dad looked like they'd been struck over the head. "No, he's home already? Why didn't he call us?" Amelia stared, slack-jawed. Bennett was home, right now, curled up on his own couch with his own family, and Mignon was... The outer edges of her vision closed in, tunneling. How could he have just left her? "Bennett's a good kid," Detective Foster said. I spoke with him at length. He's a little confused right now. He confirmed that he took your daughter to Shasta Lake and he was planning to drive her home on Sunday, but she left very suddenly. His uncle confirmed it. She said she took all her things and ran away. It's my understanding that she did that a lot. She used to, Dad said. We had a hard time with her outbursts for a while, but she hasn't called us. She always calls us. She knows how this hurts all of us. Oh my God, we're getting close. Detective Foster didn't seem convinced. He leaned back, tapping his pen on the notebook. When's the last time you heard from her? She called me before bed last night. She didn't sound distressed or unlike herself. No. Forgive my asking, but have you noticed Mignon having money lately? Money that you're not sure where it came from? No. Amelia didn't want to think about what he was implying. Is there any place she might have gone? Anywhere she might have spent the night with anyone? No, we don't have anything. We don't have anything that way. Any other place she might go, it's just forest out there, and Bennett was the only one when Bennett was the one who drove. She only took her medication for the weekend. We thought she was sleeping over at a friend's house. Mom's face had gotten paler the longer she spoke. She looked like she was going to pass out. Take a breath, Miss Lee, Detective Foster said, leaning forward now. He smiled encouragingly. We see cases like this all the time. Just last week we had a missing person report. Turned out to be a simple one-day adventure. A kid, no older than Mignon, decided to take his parents' car for a joyride and was too afraid to come home after he'd crashed it. He was fine, but it was all over nothing. I'm sure that wherever she went, she'll come home when she runs out of money. He licked his lips. I've been a detective for over 20 years. Sometimes the answer is the simplest one. Mom and Dad looked stunned. Amelia couldn't believe her eyes. You don't know our daughter, Dad says, his eyes sharp. And I don't think you're getting the whole truth from Bennett's family. You need to get to the bottom of it, or we will. Detective Foster cleared his throat and dropped his gaze to his notes. Let me be very clear about something. From here on out, you should not contact Bennett and his family in any way. It only complicates things and will make it harder for us to find your daughter. You wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want to do anything to interfere with our investigation, would you? To Amelia, it sounded like a threat. Mom and Dad looked startled. We only want to find Mignon, Mom said. I understand that, but I can't do my job unless I have the space to do it. Detective Foster stood up. I'll be in touch. If you have any more questions, please let me know. The conversation was over. Even after he saw himself out, no one moved. Mom and Dad sat on the couch together, Dad taking deep, calming breaths, Mom's shoulders rising and falling with silent shudders. Amelia felt disoriented, like she'd been spun around in circles, blindfolded, and left alone in the desert. She had no idea which way was north. Amelia turned inward, completely lost all sense of time or place, shrinking in to focus on the feeling of her compass pendant pinched between her fingers. She hadn't even realized she was holding it in the first place. Okay, guys. That is the end of chapter 23, and I think I'm going to call it a night. I hope you guys have enjoyed tonight's session of reading. We are getting a little close to finishing the book, so hope you guys are excited for that. Mushroom on Mars, thank you so much for another 100 bits. I love and appreciate you so much. Or maybe it's someone from before. I'm honestly not sure. What type of cat do I have? I don't know. Thank you guys for watching. I love you. What book is it? It is Going Dark by Melissa de la Cruz. It is a very good book. I don't think I'll be doing ASMR again tomorrow. No, let me check my stream schedule real quick. I don't think I'm supposed to be streaming. I'm not supposed to be streaming tomorrow, but honestly, I'm a little invested in this book, so I might do a little surprise stream and read some more for you guys. I'm not sure yet, but we are going to write out. Let me find someone else who is doing ASMR. Maybe anyone that I'm following is on. No, not tonight. All right. see. Alright. Olivia is live and seems to not be doing a rerun or whatever, so we're going to raid Olivia. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you a different day because I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow or not. Okay? I love you. Bye. Thank you for being good boys and sitting through this entire thing if you have. Okay. Mwah. Have a wonderful night. Bye.